Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for The Walking Dead comics issue 183. Oh man, making sure I got all those words right because I constantly call it a chapter. But yeah, issue 183. So this is up a week later than the issue itself came out, but that's mostly because I can always make a video where I'm just like talking about scene by scene what happens, but I kind of didn't really want to. I wanted to wait until I really found that motivation, that inspiration to want to talk about, to find the things that were about the issue that I wanted to really discuss. Some of the more, I don't know, deeper storylines and stuff instead of just going through scene by scene. I wanted to really find what I wanted to talk about, you know? So yeah, that's why this is up a little bit later than the issue itself actually came out. I wanted to give it a week to just read it a few times and think about it a little. So starting off at the beginning, we have Jerome escorting Michonne and Elodie to Greenville. Michonne saves his ass and they end up going on a little vacation there where this chick Cloris lavishes them with stuff. So Michonne gives some of the stuff to a hungry family, again just showing again and again the not really depravity in an extreme sense, but the modern day economic capitalist kind of depravity that's going on here, where they're like, okay, we decide that you get to be rich and we decide that you get to be stuck in a job that makes you poor. So then she witnesses cops beat a guy to death, and one of the cops includes Jerome, or at least the post-apocalyptic version of cops, the officers of the Commonwealth. So the guy that gets killed by the officers is Anthony Keith, and he attacked one of the officers who was sleeping with his wife. But what Lance brings up, I think, is really cool here, where he says, you know, I talked to a bunch of witnesses and all the witnesses kind of downplay what Anthony did compared to what happened to him. And so that's obvious, and it's a really clever and subtle way of showing us what the people of the Commonwealth are thinking by just saying that, yeah, they admit that he punched the officer, but none of them are even focused whatsoever on the fact that he punched the officer because he got beaten to death. So then he orders Michonne to have to defend the officers as her first job as lawyer. So she's obviously struggling with this, and I'm going to say that Elodie sucks. I don't like Elodie anymore at all, because she's like, oh well mom, you're one of them now, you gotta live up to it or whatever, and she's like defending Michonne from the people, saying, you know, you shouldn't be defending these guys. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe Elodie kinda sucks. But things outside of what's going on with Michonne quickly turn from protests to riots, and Michonne and Elodie have to run under the cover of guards that include Jerome. So again, it's being a bit more deep and detailed and subtle with things, where he just doing his job beat a guy to death, and also he just doing his job protected and saved them. So at the same time, he's completely evil, but has no problem doing his job when it means doing something good either. So it's one of those things that makes it more complex and brings more thought into it than if it was just simple, oh, evil all the time, or oh, good all the time. And then Pamela shows up to see her world burning, basically. But Pamela, Mercer, Rick, and Dwight finally make it to the Commonwealth. And that's basically all that happens in the stories, or all that happened in the issue, and I think it was a great way to bring in some reality with things, tell stories that happen in reality, to more relate the fictional story going on to reality, but it also fits in and illustrates the story they were already telling really well. The story they were already telling was this community trying to run back to the things, or to the way things were before the apocalypse, and Michonne trying to do the same thing. And that story can be told really well through this, because it's showing that through the division of classes, the poor people, the officers killing the guy, it's showing that because they wanted to try to force things to be like the way the old world was, they've basically brought old world problems onto themselves. Especially, I like the way that somebody in the comments of the issue, I think it was, or no, I think it was in the letter hacks brought it up. It's basically, I don't remember if it was Kirkman or whoever else, but they were basically saying, you know, this is a world, and they've said multiple times, this is a world where essentially everyone has PTSD. So again, just showing that you're bringing old world problems back in and into a world where now basically everyone has PTSD because they've seen a bunch of humans, family members, friends being ripped apart and eaten alive. So yeah, it's pretty rough, and they've basically made their own shitstorm. And I think this shitstorm can and probably will be quieted by Mercer. I think Mercer's going to be the one to stop the riots, but I think it might not be in a good way. Mercer could go and say, you know, my officers did something wrong, and we're going to set this right and punish our own officers that did something wrong. But what I think could happen here is, because we've built up so much trust in Mercer as probably a good guy, that he's going to be like, these are my men, they're my officers, and I'm going to stick with them. And he's basically going to have the officers take over, and Pamela, who seemed like kind of a dick and might still be kind of a dick, at least isn't trying to just take this place over under martial law. So I think that Mercer could actually be the one to take control of things, stop the riots, but it might not be in the most positive way. Now then, as much as I've talked up how good it is and how I think this story happened really well, it probably, all that we saw in this issue probably should have happened over the course of like 3 issues or something. It was really, really rushed. And also, in addition to rushed, there was another word I wanted to use. Did I put it in my notes anywhere? Early and rushed. I think both of those things are true, because I was expecting this journey to go with Michonne, where she's going to have to make these tough decisions and find out that life the way things were isn't what she thought it would be or what she really wants. But this came out of nowhere, like really, really soon, without a lot of build-up to the... There was a lot of build-up for the general story, but not a lot of build-up for the specific things that happened. And I say rushed because there were so many things where, when reading, you jump from page to page, and it feels like you're missing a bit of story because they just jump from one thing to another thing quite a bit in the future. And it's kind of jarring in a way that they don't really build and flow to it naturally. It feels like we're just jumping forward, jumping forward, jumping forward. After kind of spending some time a little bit slow when developing things, I think that maybe this was a bit early and rushed, and we maybe should have developed it more and had it happen over the course of maybe 2 or 3 issues instead of just rushing it into this one. So those would be the negatives, but like I said, the general story is very, very good. And as an issue, I thought it was good. I would actually give it 7.5 vacations out of 10. I enjoyed it, and hope you enjoyed as well. So like if you did like the video, and comment down there to tell me what you thought of the issue and what you thought of my thoughts on it. Then subscribe for more. The Walking Dead much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. And if you want a link to our Discord server to talk to me or more of us there, then just ask and I'll give you a link. That's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.